Good evening. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the City of Kettering Planning Commission for August 15th, 2022. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Miami Valley Cable Council for televising and taping tonight's meeting for rebroadcast on Channel 6 and streaming live over the internet at mvcc.net. It will also be recorded and available for later viewing at mvcc.net. Since this meeting is both audio and video taped to form a complete record for possible appeal to City Council and/or the courts, it is important that anyone who wishes to address the Commission will need to come to the lectern to speak into the microphone and give their name and address for the record. Planning Commission is a volunteer independent body appointed by Council, whose mission is to hear all bodies involved and subsequently make a motion to approve, deny, continue, or recommend the application. All actions by the Commission can be appealed to the City Council. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Commission. I'm going to start with our two commissioners who have excused absences. That would be Ken Lackey, our Assistant Secretary, and Ray Waski, our Vice Chair. With us to this evening are Carol Fisher on my far left, our Secretary. On my immediate left is Connie Gaw, our Recording Secretary. My name is Don Shimon. I'm the current Chair. And on my right is Commissioner Don Rethman. For staff tonight, we have David Roller, City Planner. And that's it for introduction. So we'll move on to the agenda. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes for the meetings of April 18th, May 2nd, and July 18th, all of those 2022. I believe we're going to just go ahead and take these as one motion. So any discussion about any of the minutes before we get a motion? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Rathman?
Yes.
And Mr. Shimon?
Yes. Moving on to new business. Second item on our agenda is a lot consolidation for 3709 Mary Knoll Drive. It is case PC-22-015, and for city staff is Mr. Roller.
There we go. Thank you, Mr. Shimon. We have,
Now, this
what
one's
was the first on the agenda?
Mary Knoll.
Mary Knoll. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. I got my agenda a little bit backwards there. All right. Please excuse our lack of color. We do not have a color printer right now. Hopefully that'll take care of itself sometime soon in the coming weeks as we wait for stuff to come in that's been on back order for a while. But here we have the subject property highlighted here for you to see. The street that's running north-south on the image there is Maryknoll, and to the rear is Sherwood. That's the cul-de-sac that's on the left of the screen there. The applicant's requesting approval to a record plan that combines three existing parcels into a single lot. We did review the application in accordance with the City of Kettering subdivision ordinance, and we found that it has been prepared in compliance with three minor issues. The record plan that was submitted which you can see is the properties are shown in the middle of that with a slightly bolder line representing the new lot. There are three minor issues with the record plan as submitted. It does need to bear the surveyor's seal. There are some known easements that are on the property that we would like to have those shown prior to signature, and also that the lot there be labeled as Lot 1. Right now it does not have that label on it. Those three things are the issues that we found during our review, and we would be recommending approval with those three conditions prior to Planning Commission signature. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Any questions? Ms. Fisher? Mr. Rethman?
Nope.
My usual question is the applicant is aware of the conditions that we will be recommending or
Yes.
motioning tonight?
Yes. The applicant is aware and has been aware for some time. We've been waiting on this plan to come in. So we finally are in receipt of it, and we're excited to move forward and get this one crossed off of our to-do list.
All right. This is the time where normally the applicant would make a presentation if they would so choose, but seeing that the applicant is not here this evening, also seeing that this is not a public hearing, we'll move on, and I know you've already made it, but just to reiterate, staff recommendation.
We do recommend approval of the requested record plan with the following conditions. Number one, that the plat drawing be sealed by the surveyor prior to Planning Commission signature. Number two, the easements be shown on the record plan prior to Planning Commission signature. And three, the lot be labeled as Lot 1 on the final Mylar. That's the end of our recommendation.
All right, any final comments, questions? All right, I believe Ms. Fisher, you have a motion?
I do. Whereas an application has been received from J. Bryant Apt of BA Land Professionals, 8534 Yankee Street, Suite 2D, Dayton, Ohio, requesting approval of a record plan that would replat the 3 existing lots at 3709 Maryknoll Drive by consolidating the lots into a single lot containing 0.7326 acres. And whereas this request constitutes approval of a final record plan for the newly described lot, and whereas the Planning Commission has reviewed the facts surrounding this request, including an oral and written report by city staff, which is incorporated herein. I move that the applicant's request for approval of a final record plan for the Sherwood subdivision, Section 1A record plan, be approved with the following conditions. 1, the plat drawing be sealed by the surveyor prior to the Planning Commission signature. 2, the easements be shown on the record plan prior to Planning Commission signature. And 3, the lot be labeled as Lot 1 on the final Mylar.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All right, call the roll, please.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Rathman?
Yes.
Mr. Schimmen?
Yes. Moving on to item number 3 on our agenda. This is new business as well, a conditional use for 915 Peach Orchard Drive. It is case PC-22-016, and this is a public hearing. Mr. Roller.
Thank you, Mr. Schimmen. We are in receipt of an application seeking approval of conditional use approval to allow for the development of a new park named Gentilly Park at 915 Peach Orchard, which you can see here highlighted on the map. Peach Orchard is at the bottom of that. The location has been discussed as being a park for a number of years. The proposed location does require Planning Commission approval. It is a conditional use within the zoning districts that it's within, which is R2 Residential and BP Business Park. There are certain code requirements that need to be met in order to make a recommendation for approval, to gain approval. And those are outlined within the staff report that was submitted to Planning Commission in the transmittal. The proposed park is going to be a neighborhood park. Would be containing walking, bike trails, zip line benches, some playground equipment spread throughout. There would be a pedestrian connection within the park that also extend along an old railroad right-of-way and would connect to Wiltshire Boulevard, which then connects to a newly installed pedestrian path that extends all the way to the University of Dayton's campus. The park would, as I had stated before, the park would be a neighborhood park, would not have active sports fields or anything like that. That would be a programmed park. So we do not anticipate that it would be programmed for citywide use, and it would not be a large generator of vehicular traffic. A traffic impact or a traffic study was submitted as part of the packet as well, showing how we arrived at that. Sections 1137.6.9, which is fountains, plazas, parks, and natural areas, lists some specific use requirements. While we're not actually approving the park plan tonight, we're just determining if the land is suitable for use as a park or natural area. We did find that the conceptual plan did meet those requirements. That's detailed in the staff report as well. Basically, just to give you a quick summary, there's some distance requirements that say if there's certain things present that they have to be so many feet away from residential areas. The main thing that would apply here is the playground. It does meet those setback requirements. Another requirement is active outdoor recreation areas that are lit. None are proposed. And then sites that do not have ingress or egress from thoroughfare, arterial, collector street are required to submit a traffic management plan. That's what was submitted as part of the proposal. It's not required for your approval, but they have done that analysis. Section 1153.088, which does require us to weigh in on. There are requirements A through, I believe it's I or J, A through I. We did perform an analysis of those individual criteria. We did find that all of the requirements were satisfied. We'd be happy to go through those line by line if you'd like, but we did find that it met all of those individual requirements. This is a little bit more of a detailed conceptual plan. Again, we're not here to approve the actual park plan itself, but just to determine if it's appropriate to have a park on this land. What you'll see on the top left is the connection to the bike trail coming down into the park, into a kind of a roundabout there, or a turnaround in the parking area. And then there are 3 different activity areas there. Those are all passive recreation. There's some playgrounds and some different exploration areas there for the neighborhood. Again, be happy to go through those individual requirements if you'd like. We're prepared to kind of summarize our analysis. But we are seeing that all of the requirements have been met, and we are recommending approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have at this time.
Any questions for staff, Ms. Fisher? No. Mr. Ruthven?
No.
I do not have any either. At this time, if you want to go ahead and conclude your presentation, then we'll go through the rest, but we'll hold recommendation until the public hearing.
Okay. Yeah, we do not have anything further at this time.
Okay. All right. Normally, this would be a time where the applicant would be able to make a presentation. Seeing no applicant to present. Audience participation. This is a public hearing. If there is anyone in the audience who would like to address the commission on this particular application, now would be that time. Seeing none, staff recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Shemin. Staff recommends approval based on the findings of fact and staff report as submitted.
All right, any final commission comments, questions? All right, can we get a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Fisher, or Mrs. Fisher, I'm sorry. Mr. Ruthven
Yes.
and Mr. Shemin.
Yes. All right, Mr. Ruthven, I believe you have a motion for us.
I do, Mr. Chair. For 915 Peach Orchard Road, we have a conditional use that's a park, whereas an application has been received from Gary Schuessler, 3600 Schroyer Road, Kettering, Ohio, 45429, requesting approval of a conditional use to allow for the development of a public park, Gentilly Park, at 915 Peach Orchard Road, Kettering, Ohio, 45420. And whereas the Planning Commission has reviewed the facts surrounding this request, including an oral and written report by city staff, which is incorporated herein, and held a hearing on August 15th, 2022. And whereas this request constitutes approval of a conditional use to allow a public park at 915 Peach Orchard Road, And whereas the Planning Commission adopts the finding of fact presented by staff in their staff report, which is incorporated into this motion, I move that the applicant's request for approval of a conditional use as depicted on Exhibit 1 within the staff report to allow a public park to be developed at 915 Peach Orchard Road be approved. This concludes my motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Rathman?
Yes.
Mr. Schimmer?
Yes. All right, moving on, that completes our itemized agenda for the evening. Well, no, it doesn't. Audience participation. If there is anyone in the audience who would like to discuss anything other than the cases that were on our agenda for this evening, now would be the time. Seeing none, now we have completed our numbered agenda. Moving on to other business, signing of plats,
We do not have any plats to sign this evening.
communications and reports.
None at this time.
Planning Commission comments. Ms. Fisher.
No comment.
Mr. Rethman.
No comments?
The only question or comment I have is, last time we got together, we started a discussion about some unique properties. Just so if people are following along, wondering when we're going to address that, is that on the plan for the next time that we will be getting together, or where do we stand on?
We're open to your direction. We do anticipate that we'll be doing that in the near future, but if there's anything that a meeting that you would like to see it on, we can certainly accommodate.
All right, well, then we'll leave it kind of where we left it before. If commission or if anybody in the public has anything, they can email the department and we can take a look at it. And when you're ready, we'll just bring it back before the commission. All right, that's it for the evening. This meeting will be adjourned at 7:17 until our next regularly scheduled meeting.